The old Victorian house stood on a hill overlooking the town. Its presence was both commanding and eerie, a relic of a bygone era. It had a certain charm, a faded elegance that hinted at its former glory. The intricate woodwork and vintage furniture whispered stories of the past. Empty for years, it beckoned with promises of a fresh start. The creaking doors and dusty furniture seemed to yearn for new life. At least, that's what I told myself. Standing there, I couldn't shake the feeling that the house was watching me, waiting. The realtor, a nervous man named Mr. Blackwood, handed me the keys. His hands trembled slightly as he did so. His smile felt strained, as if he knew something he wasn't telling me. "Congratulations," he mumbled, avoiding my gaze. His eyes darted around, never settling on mine. Something was off, but I ignored it. I chalked it up to nerves and excitement. We needed the space, and the price was too good to pass up. It seemed like the perfect opportunity for a new beginning. Besides, a little mystery never hurt anyone. Or so I thought. The house's secrets were yet to be uncovered. The first few days were uneventful. We settled in, unpacking boxes and trying to make the place feel like home. Boxes lined the hallways, their contents waiting to be unpacked. Each box held a piece of our past, now merging with the house's history. The silence was the only thing that felt strange. It was a heavy silence, almost tangible. It wasn't a peaceful silence. It felt heavy, expectant, like the house was waiting for something or someone, like the house itself was holding its breath. Every creak and groan seemed amplified in the stillness. One evening, as I was unpacking books, I heard it, a sound that sent chills down my spine. A soft whisper, my name, carried on a cold breeze. It was faint, almost imperceptible, but unmistakable. I turned, heart pounding, but there was no one there. Just shadows playing tricks on my mind. Just an open window rattling slightly in the wind. I tried to convince myself it was nothing, but the feeling lingered. The whispers continued, fleeting, indistinct, just on the edge of hearing, always my name. I tried to rationalize them, blaming drafts, old pipes, my imagination, but doubt gnawed at me. One night I woke to the sound of footsteps in the hallway, heavy, measured steps coming closer. My blood ran cold. I lay frozen, listening as they stopped right outside my bedroom door. Silence. Then, a slow, deliberate scratching began on the other side of the wood. I grabbed my phone, dialing 911 with trembling fingers. The scratching stopped. Before I could whisper a word, my hand froze. The phone felt ice cold, the screen flickering with static. The air grew thick, suffocating. A wave of dizziness washed over me, and everything went black. I woke up the next morning in my bed. Sunlight streamed through the window. Had I imagined it all? The phone lay on the nightstand, dead. I checked the door, not a single scratch. I tried to tell people about the whispers, the footsteps, the phone, the unsettling feeling that something was terribly wrong. My colleagues at work exchanged worried glances, their eyes filled with a mix of pity and disbelief. My husband, John, patted my hand, his face etched with concern. He tried to comfort me, but I could see the worry in his eyes. "You're just stressed," he said gently, trying to reassure me. "The move, the new job, it's getting to you," he continued, his voice soft but firm. I wanted to believe him, I really did. But something in my gut told me otherwise. I needed to believe him. I needed to find some semblance of normalcy. But the doubt lingered, fueled by the increasingly strange occurrences around me. Objects moving on their own, shadows where there shouldn't be any. The elderly couple next door, the only neighbors I'd met, vanished without a trace. One day their porch swing swayed gently in the breeze, as if someone had just been there. The next day, their house was empty, a for sale sign planted in the overgrown yard. It was as if they had never existed. Mr. Blackwood, the realtor, seemed unsurprised when I asked him about it. His demeanor was unsettling. He offered a tight-lipped explanation about a sudden move, his eyes darting nervously around my house, avoiding my gaze. I tried calling the number on the for sale sign, but it was disconnected. No forwarding address, no explanation. It was like the neighbors had never existed at all. The street felt emptier, more ominous, and the whispers, they were getting louder, more insistent, as if trying to tell me something I couldn't quite grasp. John suggested a weekend getaway, a chance to escape the house and its unsettling atmosphere. We drove to a charming bed and breakfast nestled in the countryside. Surrounded by rolling hills and the scent of pine, I felt a sliver of hope. Maybe John was right. Maybe it was just stress. That night, I slept soundly for the first time in weeks. No whispers, no footsteps, no cold dread clinging to me like a shroud. We returned home refreshed and optimistic. Even the house seemed different. The air felt lighter, the silence less oppressive. I started unpacking with renewed energy, determined to make this house our home. For a few days, the peace held. I dared to believe the nightmare was over. I was wrong. One quiet afternoon, while exploring the house, I stumbled upon a locked door in the attic. The door was old and worn, its paint peeling away, hinting at secrets long forgotten. Curiosity piqued, I searched for the key, eventually finding it hidden in a dusty box of old photographs. The photographs were unsettling, capturing moments frozen in time, yet filled with an eerie energy. Faded images of stern-faced people, their eyes seeming to follow me wherever I moved. It felt as if they were silently judging me, their expressions unchanging. One photo taken inside the house showed a group of people gathered around a table. The room in the photograph looked eerily similar to the one I was standing in. Their faces were contorted in fear, their eyes fixed on something outside the frame. It was as if they were witnessing something horrifying, something beyond the photograph's borders. My hand trembled as I finally turned the key in the lock. The sound of the mechanism clicking open echoed in the silent attic. The attic door creaked open, revealing a dusty, cobweb-filled room. The air was thick with the scent of age and neglect. A single window cast a pale light on the floor where a child's rocking horse stood frozen mid-rock. The sight was both nostalgic and unsettling. A chill ran down my spine, and I knew with a certainty that defied logic that I shouldn't be here. The atmosphere was thick with an unspoken warning. As I turned to leave, I noticed something scrawled on the wall. The writing was faint, almost as if it was trying to hide from view. A message, written in a child's hand, the letters shaky and uneven. It looked like it had been written in a hurry with a sense of urgency. It simply said, "Don't let them in." The words sent a shiver through me, leaving me with more questions than answers. That night, a storm raged outside. Wind howled, rain lashed against the windows, and thunder shook the house to its core. I lay awake, fear twisting in my gut. The message in the attic echoed in my mind, "Don't let them in. Don't let them in." Suddenly, a blood-curdling scream pierced the night. It came from downstairs. "John!" I scrambled out of bed and raced towards the sound, my heart pounding in my chest. The hallway was plunged in darkness, the only light flickering from the storm outside. As I reached the top of the stairs, the power went out, plunging the house into absolute blackness. "John?" I called out, my voice trembling. No answer. Just the sound of my own ragged breathing and the relentless pounding of the rain. Then I heard it again, the scratching. This time it wasn't coming from a door, it was coming from the walls, all around me, getting closer. Panic surged through me. I fumbled for my phone, but it was useless, dead again. I stumbled back, my hands outstretched, searching for the bedroom door. My fingers brushed against cold, damp plaster. I was turned around, disoriented. The scratching grew louder, more insistent. It felt like something was trying to claw its way in. I ran, blindly, desperately, through the darkness. Each room I stumbled into looked the same. Shadows dancing in the flickering lightning, the air thick with a suffocating dread. The house felt alive, closing in on me. The whispers were everywhere now, a chorus of voices murmuring my name, their tone laced with a chilling malice. I was trapped. I collapsed on the floor, my back against a cold wall, tears streaming down my face. The scratching was deafening now, right beside me, vibrating through the wall. "John!" I screamed, my voice hoarse with terror. "Help me!" Silence. Then a voice, low and guttural, whispered directly into my ear. "He can't hear you." The scratching stopped, the whispering ceased. The only sound was the pounding of my own heart, a frantic drumbeat in the suffocating silence. I squeezed my eyes shut, my mind teetering on the edge of madness. This couldn't be real, it couldn't be happening. The storm subsided as quickly as it arrived. Dawn broke, painting the sky in hues of pale orange and pink. Silence filled the house once more, but this time it wasn't heavy or expectant. It was empty, devoid of even the faintest whisper. I lay there for what felt like an eternity, my body trembling, my mind a whirlwind of fear and confusion. Eventually I managed to stand, my legs shaky beneath me. I stumbled out of the house and into the cold, clear morning air. The house loomed behind me, its windows dark and vacant. Had it all been a nightmare? A hallucination brought on by stress and an overactive imagination? I didn't know. But as I turned to leave, I saw it. Scratched into the paintwork of my car, a single chilling word, "Go." I didn't need to be told twice.